Hello, my name is Huang, and I'm here at Industrial Transformation Asia Pacific. And this event is where Money FM 89.3 is the official radio station. And this event brings together all the thought leaders, the experts, all the subject matter experts right here at this event to talk about what's happening in the manufacturing industry. We are talking about Industry 4.0 and digital transformation. And right here next to me, we are privileged to have with us Willson Deng. He is the CEO of Arcstone. Thanks for joining us, Willson.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Well, before we dive into the topic of digital transformation for SMEs, just give us a sense of what Arcstone does. What do you do? You're an engineer by training.
Yes, that's correct. So Arcstone itself is focused on providing a very flexible manufacturing execution system for manufacturers to digitize their entire production floor very rapidly and scale very quickly.
So what type of customers, what type of profiles are there?
So they range from SMEs in the precision engineering space all the way up to large multinationals that are globally present. And it's really focused around, can we get live data from the production floor so I can have true visibility across my production line? So what's happening with my people, what's happening with my machines, what's happening with my process, I need to know all the time.
So a bit of data gathering and using that data to make better decisions and more efficient work.
Absolutely. We follow kind of three key principles: visibility, control, and then optimization.
Okay, so you've been talking to a lot of people at this event in this industrial transformation Asia Pacific, and in your line of work, you talk to a lot of clients. What is the level of readiness in Singapore among SMEs?
For the SMEs, I think it's still at the very early stage. There are some SMEs that are still in the learning phase of understanding what does it mean to digitize, why is it important. There's some great readiness indexes that the government and other organizations have started leveraging and moving forward to. So I think there's a certain large percentage of people that are still in that stage. But there are others that have begun the journey, which is always a fantastic thing to see. They've experimented, they've tried pilots, they're working on different projects to see what is the true value they can glean from these particular projects. And then you have a few that are at the stage where they've essentially mastered the concept and understand that they've started to adopt a data-first policy, which means that everything that's happening on the production floor, I must have data to validate it and to be able to see it in real time.
Okay, Willson, just help us to walk us through what actually is digital transformation. It's not just buying a laptop and being digital, right?
We wish. If it was that easy, I think Industry 4.0 would have moved a lot sooner. So when we talk about digitization, we actually have a very simple process for SMEs to determine where they are in their process. Is that if a customer was suddenly to place an order with you, and 2 days later they give you a call and say, where is my order? Can you answer that to what level of degree of certainty? Where is it in the process? Who's been working on it? Which machines have been run to work this order, and when is it ready to deliver? This is what we call visibility, and when we talk about digitization, we need to know all this information, which means information from the machines, how it's been running, which products have been running in it, what are my personnel doing, have they started the job, is there a delay somewhere, is there a problem that requires manual intervention, how's my process flowing, how are my raw materials being consumed, how much stock do I have left? All this is critical information. So that specific point about visibility is where digitization must come in. So there's a plethora of tools that will then be used to gather and collect this information, and that builds the digital backbone and foundation.
All right, Wilson, let's use an example. So let's say an SME wants to undergo this journey, and let's use an example of a restaurant. What questions do they need to ask themselves as they go on this journey of transforming themselves?
I think first of all, there's a lot of questions. I think one of the key things that I think most SMEs need to figure out is, one is study your own internal processes and find out what are your key pain points. Right? It's one of the big kind of pitfalls is to think that you can just go out and buy a solution, throw it in, and it'll work. And you think that it's going to give you great improvements. But the core thing that either manufacturers or any company, even outside of manufacturing, really need to step back and think about is, what is keeping me awake at night? Is it something wrong with, I don't know what my customers are doing. We can't get the food out fast enough. I can't get my products made quickly enough. I have no transparency in the materials I'm consuming. That itself is going to be the best way to start looking at digitization as a way to improve. Because when you have a problem statement, then I can find the right solution to solve it. Whereas if I try to find a blanket solution, a one-size-fits-all or a silver bullet, that's where a lot of projects end up failing, because genuinely people don't have a clear idea of what is it that's really causing the inefficiencies. Where are my bottlenecks? Where do I need to improve productivity? And if you don't know, if you can't see, then you're bound to make a wrong decision in selecting
All right,
product and
Wilson,
solution.
you've listed so many benefits, so it sounds like a no-brainer to go on this journey. So what's actually holding back people? Is it the budget, mindsets?
There's always a budget consideration, but I think luckily for companies that are based out of Singapore, you have tremendous amount of support from everywhere. So I don't feel that is actually going to be the key limitation. The key limitation really is around mindset changes and understanding. I think traditionally SMEs have always looked at a solution as I can go out, I can buy it, and I'm guaranteed a certain productivity improvement. Whereas when you look at Industry 4.0, that's not always the case. You're buying something that's essentially to set up a digital infrastructure. And trying to price and put an ROI on the price of infrastructure is very difficult to actually calculate. So that brings about a certain level of confusion and hesitation, because as a SME kind of manager, you don't want to start investing into something you're not sure about. But getting this infrastructure in place is so important. And because there's not enough training and education in this area, there's a lot of hesitancy to start.
Right, Wilson, very good point. ROI, return on investment. So how do people measure the success of digital transformation?
So there is measured in both tangible and intangible ways. One is, of course, the savings and productivity that you're going to be able to gain by cutting away waste, simply based on not knowing what's happening on the ground. And then two, the intangible assets that you can actually maintain is simply being able to answer that same question that I proposed before, which is, if a customer calls you right now, do you know what's happening with your order, and can you provide this information? So that is really what's going to bring SMEs to that next level, because in order to go from a tier 4, tier 3 supplier to a manufacturer to a tier 1, you're going to have to start being able to provide this information and set yourself aside to say, I am an SME that has this capability in the digital infrastructure to give live information to my customer on the products that they buy, and that's going to give me a competitive advantage that others don't have.
All right, thank you so much, Wilson. We've been speaking with Willson Deng. He is the CEO of Arcstone, and I'm Ryan Huang for Money FM 89.3.
Money FM 89.3.